Welcome to Bacon Talk. Hello and welcome to episode number 44 of Unrelenting, September 30th, 2022. Gene's heading south.
44? Is that all we're on?
Yeah, 44.
I thought we were like over 100 already.
Seems like hundreds, if not thousands.
It feels like it. Maybe thousands is correct. Yeah.
Isn't that how you usually know the marriage is about to go south when you're like, hey, honey, it's our anniversary. Oh, what's it, like the 40th? Second. Oh. Yeah.
Okay. If you go from second to 40, then something may be up.
Yes. It may just feel like a really long time.
I think it usually takes about 7 years to get to 40.
Until you're like that itch. You got to have that 7-year itch. And then you're like time. It's like you're in the TARDIS and you don't know how much time has been. But you got space. And
it's been forever.
Just right. That's all you know. It's been a long time.
I can't remember when I felt good.
Right. Well, that's it. That is it. Well, that's why you're heading south for another vacation.
Yeah, exactly. I'm heading south. You're correct in that.
You're heading all the deals. The Florida deals, I hear. Tampa's really, you can get a lot of deals right now.
Good deals. So got to go on vacation again.
Everything's a water view.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Well, you're pretending to go down there to work, you say, though.
Oh, yeah. Vacation work. Totally. Yep.
You write your best books while inebriated on a beach.
Yeah. Not drinking this year, but yeah.
Well, I mean, inebriated just on life.
Sure. That works.
A whole
life
year
is good
without alcohol. I've done that a few times.
Have you? Okay.
Yeah.
I've done a month before when I was in my late 20s. I've never done a year before.
Ooh, so this is, was this a test of will or just I'm over it?
A little bit of both. And I know my liver thanking me.
Well, and so is your wallet because the alcohol you like is
that's
like $7,000 an ounce.
Yeah. No, that's true. There's, I hadn't really thought about it, but you're absolutely right. Because even if you're not buying the really expensive stuff, there's no such thing as cheap alcohol, or at least not anything I'm going to entertain drinking.
No, I mean, you're starting probably, there are some Irish whiskeys that are probably about 30 that are decent, but it's, you don't want like the $9.99.
No, but even just, going out to bars or whatever, or even just restaurants and having wine with meal, that'll add up quickly.
Well, yeah, because they take the cost that they paid for the bottle of wine and then they multiply it by 3 or 4. That's people are like, why is that? Why do they do that? Well, because they're there to make money.
Well, and in Texas, a lot of places are actually BYOB,
which is nice.
Yeah, which I'd never heard of until I got to Texas. Like, you got to be kidding me! A restaurant lets me bring my own alcohol.
There are some of
those. They'll even hold it for me. They have a little locker. Oh my
God. Nice?
Yeah,
there are a few of those here, and it's a lot of them. It's just because the liquor licenses can be so hard to get. They're so expensive.
Right.
But they can't tell you not to bring your own wine in. So
now there's one place, barbecue place out here called Salt Lake that is BYOB, but has a liquor store about 100 feet off.
Yeah, I think we've talked about that, which is genius.
And we may have, yeah, which is genius or crazy depending on how you want to look at it.
So you sit down and you're like, hey, I'd like some wine, and they're like, we don't sell it here. And they just point next door, which is their place
too. Give you the old thumb over the shoulder.
I'm guessing it's not the cheapest liquor store in town either.
I would guess not. Yeah, that's a good point.
If they're smart anyway.
I generally just drink iced tea. I mean, even before my whole, I'm going to take, a year off sabbatical from drinking or whatever. Even then, when I eat barbecue, I just prefer my barbecue to be just nothing but barbecue and iced tea to wash it down.
Well, yeah, you can't enjoy the barbecue as much if you're totally like whacked.
Now, I may have asked you this before too, but do you have a favorite barbecue place out there?
In
Chicagoland area?
In Chicago. We went through it. It's been a while. My buddy Ron, who passed away a few years ago, was a little bit insane, but in a good way. And he was kind of on a quest to try and in Chicago, mainly what you're getting is barbecued ribs. I mean, You can still get the briskets and that, but that's more, I would expect that in Kansas and Texas and all that. So,
yeah. And I would agree. I think most of my life, when I said the word barbecue, what I referred to was ribs.
Right.
Pork ribs.
But it changes if you're down south a little bit.
It does. In Texas, if you say barbecue, the default is brisket. So if you want barbecued ribs, you have to specify.
Now, we had a theory, my buddy Ron and I, that we pretty much proved, which was the more dangerous the neighborhood in Chicago,
the better the ribs.
The better the ribs.
Mm-hmm.
The thicker the bulletproof glass at the venue, the better the ribs. And he went and would just pick these things up and bring them back because he was a contractor. And
so that explains how he died, I guess.
Well, the cancer, but I wouldn't doubt that there was something related to all the crap you breathe in, because he was a tile installer. He did all the tile in our house. Was way better than most tile installers. Yeah, but
okay, I was referring to the going into shady neighborhoods, but you blew that.
No, see, this was the funny thing, because of course he had a just crappy beat up truck, and when he would go pick up this food, most of the time he was in his work clothes, which looked like he was homeless, or actually he looked like he was a step down from homeless. And he's like, nobody wants to screw with that kind of a guy, like just here to buy ribs. But
nice.
Yeah, we tried a lot of barbecued ribs in Chicago, and none are bad. They're all just a little different. I can't say you would pick one necessarily over the other. They're all slightly different, and they're all delicious. Even bad ribs are good.
I like the slathered in sauce and fall off the bone ribs.
Yes, which some people don't. They're a purist, and they're like, well, that's no good.
Yeah, some people are really dry rub people. Yes,
which both are good. I've tried both, but there is something about the, like you said, it's almost like when you're done, it's almost like the artificial McRib stuff, because the bones are just gone, and the delicious meat is there, and that's hard to beat. There's a place not too far from here called Ex-Senators, which it's been a while since I've gone over there to get some ribs. It's not a bad part of town, but it's it's not the best, but it's not you're going to get shot kind of bad. Which I need somebody else that can go, that wants to take on that job of going into the worst parts of Chicago just to get some barbecue.
Yeah, if there's any volunteers, let them know.
Yeah, that would be a party.
The rib picker upper.
It's usually, now that I wonder if any of those places are on Uber Eats and what kind of a tip people would expect.
I'm sure most of them are.
Yeah.
Everything's on Uber Eats that I've seen.
It's true.
It's hard not to be, because that's their sales pitch, is like, well, everybody else is.
And the restaurant
be the only restaurant that isn't.
Well, yeah, you kind of do, because my buddy owns a pizza place, and they kind of are at war now with the Uber Eats and pickup services, because they're well aware that when Uber Eats brings an order in, they'll fill it, but Uber Eats has taken 30%.
Yep.
So now they've gone to, hey, order directly from us and let our pickup delivery driver do it, and we'll give you a 15% off coupon to order directly from us, rather than going to Uber Eats, because they know even at that, even giving 15% off, they're still 15% ahead of
well, the irony is, I found with the local pizza places that some of them, it depends on which one, but some of them, they've always delivered pizza, but if you put an order in through them, it could be like an hour and a half delivery. You put an order in through Uber Eats, it's like a half-hour delivery.
It's like magic.
Well, because they have maybe 3-5 guys working there total. doing the delivery runs.
Which makes sense.
And
There's
if they
a
get
limited
busy,
amount.
they get busy.
Right.
Uber Eats has a almost unlimited number of people delivering. So
well, they do literally.
Yeah. So the order basically goes in as a counter pickup, which they can do pretty quick. And then Uber guys pick it up versus the guys working at the restaurant. So it gets done a lot faster.
It's like magic.
But I'm sure, like you said, the restaurant makes a lot less money on that.
Yeah, which they don't like.
Yeah. But pizza's so damn cheap of a business anyway.
Well, which is why it's almost criminal when you see the prices that they've gone up to. I mean, we ordered a pizza the other day and it was like $35. It's like that's and it was
like Austin prices.
Yeah, exactly.
Mm-hmm.
And that was the first thing my buddy said which I never really understood because his place, he likes more of the upscale Italian dishes than that.
Mm.
But he's also well aware of it's like, well, the margins on those way less than what's on the pizza. He's like, oh yeah, for $5 you can make a pizza and sell it for 30.
Well, regardless of what's on the pizza, dough is 75% to 90% of the pizza.
Yeah.
So you think about that. Dough is one of the cheapest things you can make. It's just flour, water, a little bit of salt, and yeast. And it costs very little, and it's well the majority of what you're actually eating with pizza.
And it's the deliciousness, if done right.
Yeah, well, the ingredients I think are delicious. The stuff that they put on top, or let's put it this way, things that have fat in them are delicious.
Yes. Well, there you go. And
those cost more.
And meat.
Yeah, you do double the cheese and then you triple the meat and you're good to go.
But you'll notice like some of them also, the shrinkflation has hit some of the pizza places around here because it's like the amount of cheese, less.
Yeah.
The amount of pepperoni or sausage, less.
Yeah, but it's probably a good thing. I mean,
it's healthier.
Yeah, exactly. As an above average weight American, I will say that it may not be a bad thing that we have shrinkflation happening. I notice my favorite place that I get my Palestinian chicken from, they used to be, and they were a great bargain. I think I even talked about them in the past. I used to get like a 9 pieces of chicken kebab. So probably either 2 or 3 probably 2 skewers, but they were 9 pieces and the price was like $8 or something. I mean, it was on top of rice. It was just ridiculously cheap and good quality every time. Well, I still order from them, but their prices went up by 25%. And you now get 1 fewer pieces for that same dish.
Bastards.
So I know. And it sucks when you compare it to what they used to be. But when you compare it to what everybody else is doing, it's like, oh, they're still a good deal.
Yeah. And I love a good chicken kebab. They, a couple of the grocery stores around here make them. So you just throw them in the air fryer, or on your grill if you want to do that. But it's quick, it's easy, and it's
Is your
way
air
healthier.
fryer big enough that you can put a whole kebab in there?
Yeah, I could put like 4 kebabs side by side in there.
How long are these kebabs?
I would say they're about 10, 12 inches.
Your fryer is a foot inside dimensions?
Yeah,
really?
dude, it's big. Yeah, it's like the biggest Kosari one they make.
Okay, because mine's probably 8 inches, and I can put something diagonally, but not,
No, I can fit these side by side, which is awesome. I mean, I've actually been also just taking 2 kebabs and then cutting up some red pepper and putting that in there with it to have a little extra veg.
Yeah. No, that's cool. Yeah, I like using the air fryer, but it's just I feel that the inside dimensions are too goddamn small.
Yeah, you need it bigger. I've got, and I believe it's going to fit, but we'll find out. This is the first time I've tried this because I tried it with a pre-cooked rotisserie chicken. That fit in there. So I ordered for the first time, a full small chicken. I think it's like 9 or 10 pounds. So I'm going to try cooking that in the air fryer.
Well, but the chicken isn't. I mean, it's kind of roundish. It's not squarish the way kebabs are.
No, that's true, but it's the height would be the
that's
the main thing.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, when I bought this thing, I thought I was mostly going to make French fries,
which of course you can do that.
What they sell it as. It's like, oh, make great fries with less oil. It's like, okay, and then what I realized is that most of the stuff I'm making isn't actually French fries. It's either heating or reheating sort of pre-prepared dishes from the grocery store, and or including like kebabs that are pre-made or whatever. But what I found is I had to cut the damn wood sticks in half.
That's no good.
So that they fit, because the whole full length ones, just like I can put one of them in there diagonally.
You need a bigger air fryer.
I may need a bigger air fryer. I like the one I've got. It looks nice. It's all silver or stainless or whatever. But I think it's too small.
Yeah, you need it to be large enough to handle. I mean, for a single person, though, I mean, that's usually you'd say the portions are less, but you're right. You need it wide enough. It works for me. I can put if thick cut bacon, I can put 5 slices in there, and it'll crisp those up nicely.
I can do 4 slices of bacon without overlapping. So yeah, that's a thing. I never even thought about it when I bought it. It didn't occur to me that the inside dimensions mattered that much, but
it depends what you're trying to put in there. Now, if you're just
what
throwing...
I started doing with bacon is actually wrapping it into a little kind of a spiral or a tube, and then putting that in there.
So it should be okay. So it'll fit.
Well, there's 2 benefits, actually. One is it'll fit. The other one is that it's on its edge, so all the fat drips off.
Well, see, that does it when it's flat, even in mine, because there's enough of a reservoir underneath that it just falls through the basket, and so it's not actually cooking in its own grease.
Yeah. No, I same thing. But no, what I mean is sometimes if you put it flat, you'll have it cooked, but there's a little lake of grease on top of the bacon.
Oh, I gotcha.
Because it curled up.
So this just takes that lake of grease and whooshes it away.
Drains it instantly. Yeah. It's just slightly a little more. So there's 2 ways to do it. One is to use toothpicks to hold it together while it's cooking. The other way is to just put enough of them in there, all of them twirled up on their side, that you don't need toothpicks, but then you're making like a dozen bacon things. Yeah.
Welcome to Bacon Talk on Unrelenting, everybody.
I've done both of those. Yeah. It's bacon talk's pretty good.
You have to test it out. You got to find out what works best.
Yeah. But I don't know. Maybe I guess this thing's also survived long enough that I can probably justify replacing it, because it's I want to say I got it 2017 or 18.
Yeah,
that's been like 4 to 5 years.
Yeah, ours is like 2 or 3.
I think it was only like $180, so I got my money's worth out of it.
About the same, and we've replaced the inner basket once because that was starting to just be overall caked and really bad.
I couldn't clean it up.
It got to that point. Yeah, it was like the coating started coming off, so that was
no, that's not good.
That was the time you knew it had to be replaced. But I think we're ready for another one. But I'd buy another Kosari. It's worked perfectly. And you just get the largest one, and it's
you should reach out and see if we get a sponsorship by them for the show.
Be like, hey, you want to join us? We're talking about air fryer cooking
on Kosari.
You can do everything, man. It's like that. Exactly like you said. It was, this would be a healthy way to make, French fries and chicken nuggets. That was about the thought.
That was exactly right. Yep.
And it's like, oh, no, it's way more.
You make all kinds of shit. It's faster than the microwave a lot of times.
Oh, and it's great for just even taking, you want to make a Reuben? You take it, you put it in there with the bread, and it just toasts the outside of the bread. It warms the corned beef. It's beautiful.
Oh, it is very good at toasting. Yeah. That's true.
It's an amazing device.
I never understood why they didn't just include these in all microwaves. I mean, all you got to freaking do is put a fan in there that blows hot air around.
Well, which is you have to have another way to do the hot air too, though, not the.
Well, yeah. I mean, but
But you're right. It wouldn't be that hard to...
even if you put just a fan into a microwave, so the parts that are getting just nuked versus the parts that are still cold get warm air moving around in there, that would be better. Because I think the only thing the microwave fans do is they suck the air out.
Well, that's why you have the rotisserie to move the food while you're making it.
Yeah, but I don't know.
And if you
microwaves been...
With the microwaves, have you seen that there was a guy, I'm sure there are multiple, but there's a guy that's YouTube channel was mainly devoted to crazy shit,
cooking,
what you could do with microwaves. Well, what the technology could do. And he proved that when you put a microwave on, say 50% power, the microwaves don't have a 50% power like you're driving and you're only going half acceleration.
No,
it's just turning it off for 50% of the time.
Yeah, exactly.
So it's like nuke off, nuke off, nuke off.
Yep.
Who knew?
Yeah, that's true.
I
knew that.
I never paid.
Everybody knew that.
I never thought about it. I was like, oh.
You know what else doesn't go 50%?
Gene?
No, Gene goes 50% a lot. No, the
Gene's been down to like 3-4% at times.
LED lights.
So wait. Oh, that's blowing my mind. So wait a minute, because they have dimmers that you could use on LED lights.
All they do is turn off and on.
No, wouldn't you get like an epileptic fit if that happened?
Well, if you use a camera to record an LED light, you will see that it's actually doing that.
That's bizarre.
But your eyeballs are not sensitive enough to notice it. I mean, it makes total sense because you think about it, old school TV sets, right? The CRTs we used to have, they used to literally light up 1 pixel at a time as they're scanning left to right and drawing all those lines. And to our eyeballs, we would see a full image. You remember those TV sets, right?
Oh, yeah. But that's...
Now, one interesting thing is that animals that are much superior to us in vision, like cats, never used to watch TV sets because they never understood what the fascination of people is to sit and watch a pixel moving across the screen.
Right, really
that's
fast.
All they saw.
Like up.
That's all they would see. They would see the actual single pixel running across the screen,
like top left to bottom right. But that was happening all within 60 times a second, was it? Or no,
30 times a second. But our shitty human eyes would blend all that together into a single image. Now, we do have better color perception than they do, but they have much faster ability to see change than we do because they're actual predators, unlike us.
And now
we're prey.
With the LED and the plasma screens, they're like, hey, wait, this is actually...
they can actually watch it now, and you'll see a lot of cats and dogs watching TV these days.
They're always amused when they see another animal on the screen.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, for sure. I think they think of a TV as just a window.
Isn't it, though? It's our window to the world, Gene.
Well, metaphorically for us, but physically, virtually for them. But it's an interesting idea. But yeah, if you'll notice this if you watch like a car review done by not a professional channel, but by one of the multitude of YouTube car reviewers that are using consumer quality cameras. You'll notice that all the tail lights, headlights, everything is just blinking really fast because the camera is actually picking up. Well, it's out of sync. The camera is recording at a certain frame rate, and it's out of sync with the frame rate of the blinking of the light. Because if you just turn an LED on, it'll give you the most brightness that it's capable of delivering, but it'll also burn out much like a regular old school light bulb. So you want to have LEDs that last forever. You can either run them at much lower levels of light production, or you can run them at full power, but turn them on and off really fast.
So you just want to sit there and keep flipping the switch.
Well, it's kind of automated. Yeah, you don't have to. It's part of the package, but they're not constant on. It's interesting stuff that we just. There's so many things that we have with our senses that can be, I guess, fooled isn't quite the right word, but essentially we're just not very good.
Well, yeah. We went from the incandescent bulbs to the horrible compact fluorescent, which I never bought. I was like, screw that. I'll stock up.
I like compact fluorescents. I never had any problems with them. I don't know why people bitch about them.
They drive me nuts. I don't know what it is about them. I don't know if it's the aura they put out, whatever it is.
They do the same thing. Those also flashed really fast.
That may be why. And maybe I picked up on that because it kind of make you feel like you were inside of a Best Buy or Costco because it just had that artificial light screaming out of it. But when the LEDs came out that were very much indistinguishable for me, at least, and that was before I, had horrible vision. You could put them in, you have a, like in our kitchen fixture here, there's 5 bulbs. I put 3 of the LEDs and 2 incandescent. You look at it and you're like, I can't tell the difference. And you're using like so much.
They're much better.
Oh yeah. And they use like 6 watts instead of 100 or whatever the comparable rate is now.
Yeah. The CF bulbs that we had for a while that you dislike actually were the most economical. They use less power than LEDs.
But they sucked.
But some people have a weird reaction to them, yeah.
Well, yeah. Maybe it was only good for lizard people or something.
There's certainly a group of people that really couldn't stand them, but I don't know. They seem fine to me.
You're like, they lit the place up. That's all I'm looking for.
Yeah, the house that I built back in the 2000s, I had all those bulbs in there, and they were perfectly fine. The only thing, again, is they had issues being dimmed, but other than that annoyance, and you could get digital dimmers for them eventually, but
those were the ones like if you dimmed them, they were like zzz, you get the buzzing and
the shitty ones would, but you get good ones. They just cost more.
Who wants to spend a lot on lighting?
Spend a lot on lighting there, that's for sure. The current house I've got all the LED stuff in, and I don't think I've replaced, knock on wood, I don't think I replaced a bulb in a decade here.
I've replaced just 1 or 2, and I'm assuming that was because they were fairly cheap Costco bulbs, and which overall is still fairly impressive. It's not like you forget how much we used to have to change incandescent bulbs.
Well, and remember, that's by design.
Yeah.
Edison still has light bulbs burning for over 100 years at his house.
We got to burn them out, baby. You got to buy more.
They were designed to be a consumable, not a permanent fixture, and it's absolutely possible to do I wonder, I'll bet you could probably order some these days. I haven't done the search myself because I prefer the white light to the yellow light, so I'm fine with LEDs. But
you like the natural daylight, pep you up kind of bulb.
If you like that yellow bulb look that we used to have,
the warmness,
I'll bet you somebody makes like long life bulbs right now that don't burn out, because there's no more incentive to make the burn outable kind, because if you do, they'll be replaced with an LED. So the only competitive incandescents you can make are going to be the long age ones, which should last for decades.
Right. It's the artisan collection now of incandescent bulbs.
Yeah. And I think literally the only difference is going to be the thickness and possibly the material.
Yeah. That's being burned.
That the actual wire is made from. Yeah.
That the current is going through. I used to have a halogen light in the office here, which was...
I had one of those, yeah.
It was a great thing in the winter,
Mm-hmm.
But in the summer,
it heats you up.
Yes.
Yeah, I remember those things being sold like 500 watts. I was like, wow, I'm using a 60-watt light bulb, and that's hot. And this is 500 watts.
Yeah.
Those things would fry insects, anything that comes without even landing. Anything that flies close to it just gets obliterated.
Yeah. I had one that just had a piece of glass that sat right on top of, well, it didn't sit. There was a little air, but it was right above that because the bulbs get so damn hot.
Oh, insanely hot. Yeah, I had the stand-up lamp like that, I remember.
Right, probably that's exactly what
in the 80s.
Yeah, and it would heat up the room. I remember.
Oh, yeah.
It's like, it could be 20 degrees outside. And it's like, well, if it's just me at home, for the day, working, wife's out at work, I could just turn the heat off in the rest of the house, and that would
just use the lamp. Yeah,
that would more than heat up the room.
Yeah, and that's what we used to have in cars too, if you remember.
Yeah, for the headlights.
Mm-hmm.
Like that was a beautiful thing you could actually see.
Yeah, and then we got high intensity discharge headlamps, which were a arc based light, I believe, that were very cool because they were cool white instead of yellow. So you kind of started associating a white colored headlights with expensive car.
Well, yeah, you want to see further. The white got you a better distance. And when you're going 100 miles an hour, you want to see what's coming in front of you. Speaking of nice cars.
Yeah.
This is a great segue. Did you see the Apple executive who was fired? Tony Blevins.
No.
He showed up at some event where there was a TikToker that was asking everybody who had a nice car the same question, which is, what do you do or whatever? Because, I guess the Mercedes this guy drove up in was a $500,000 Mercedes. So
wow,
he got asked the question, hey, what do you do for a living? And he answered, I have rich cars, play golf, and fondle big-breasted women, but I take weekends and holidays off.
Nice.
That got him fired from Apple.
Well, they probably just ran out of the big-breasted women there.
This is my question. Which part of that statement is so offensive that it will have somebody losing their job?
Yeah, wait, repeat it again.
I have rich cars, play golf, and fondle big-breasted women, but I take weekends and major holidays off. And then he added, if interested, I've got a hell of a dental plan too. Now, his wife or girlfriend, whoever was sitting in the car laughing.
Was she? Yeah. What's a rich car? I don't know what a rich car is. I know what an expensive car is.
I guess that's what he meant. This is in the UK, though, I believe.
So, the UK people.
Because he was wearing
Apple UK guy.
Yeah, well, he was wearing a Jolly Roger T-shirt under his jacket. He looked like this guy was ready to go out and I guess this was a line because it's funny. I guess this was taken kind of from a line from the 1981 movie with Dudley Moore, Arthur. That is kind of the way he was dressed too. So this was obviously meant to be a joke, taken lightly.
Right. Okay.
But this got him fired. I'm like, okay. So saying you have the car, not a big deal. Playing golf, obviously not a big deal. Taking weekends and holidays off, not a big deal.
The fact that he wasn't homosexual.
I'm thinking it's like because he liked to fondle.
If he would have just said big cocks instead of big breasts, he probably would have still had his job.
Dude, you're right. You couldn't get fired for that because then it would be homophobic. Get fired
for that. It's absolutely, especially given Apple's gay agenda.
But I'm hoping this guy's able to sue Apple for billions because that is what they deserve.
Oh, he's not going to sue anybody. No, I'm sure he got fired, but he probably got a few $1,000,000 of severance.
Probably got a good deal, but I still can't understand why is this offensive for a straight man just to say, hey, I'm rich. I like to fondle big-breasted women.
It's not. It's only offensive to say if you work at Apple.
I guess. I mean, it's not like he said he did it without their consent or that they weren't into it or didn't want it. It's like this is just admitting what everybody knows about biology.
That's toxic masculinity, don't you know?
Exactly. Which is why there's a whole new podcast I'm going to be doing soon that talks about all this kind of stuff, but with somebody who is not a male.
Somebody who's not a male.
I know. Finally, I've been needing a female co-host.
You've been waiting for a while for that, yeah.
For a long time.
Exactly.
And it will, it'll get kicked in.
Not your wife.
No.
Mm-hmm.
And it'll be a little while because this person probably won't have power because of the hurricane coming in soon into the Carolinas. But after that, there are things in motion.
Yeah. Was that the challenge? As soon as you surpass the number of followers she has to do a show with you?
She asked me. So that maybe it was like, oh, geez, need to catch back up.
Oh, so she's okay. She's just playing you.
Probably.
So she's going to do a show until she gets more followers once again, and then there'll be that. I've been telling her, do a podcast. We need you to do a podcast. And she came up with that idea, and I'm like, well, that actually really works. And because I'm intrigued about all this kind of stuff, and it's hard for two white guys, or even a white guy and a black guy, or a white guy and an Asian guy. If it's two guys, you can't really talk as well about, well, is this offensive that he said this? Why would anybody take this as being offensive? Why would, this isn't even just reprimanding, like, well, you should think about you're representing Apple when you're out there. So saying anything that might be, it's like, no, this is like immediate fired. This is termination. This is, wow. I don't get it, but it's like I'm telling you, it's saying breasts instead of cock.
Yeah,
that's what it is.
And it's just saying it. And it's not like this was at an Apple event. This was on his own time. So you guys, that you can't make a joke because some asshole with a camera is going to put you on TikTok. You're going to go viral, and your company is going to go, oh, fire that guy. It's like, I don't understand. It's like this had nothing to do with his job. I mean, you're making the case that his comments were so bad that they could hurt the company. And it's like, what comment did he make again? That he likes big-breasted women. Wow, he likes to fondle big-breasted women. Now, I'm going to just ask any straight guy out there, how many straight guys out there are like, no, I hate fondling big-breasted women. Just hate it. I think the percentage is low.
Maybe it's the saying. Well, I guess if he was single guy, it wouldn't matter. But I don't know. It's a weird thing. It's a bizarre, crazy thing. It doesn't make any sense to me. But Apple is, they're a very woke company. Yeah,
Tim Cook and COO Jeff Williams were among those angered by the comments. Angered, I tell you.
That's what I'm telling you. Should have said cocks.
Yes. That's the only answer. They're angered by the fact that somebody would dare.
Or should have said women with cocks.
I don't even understand. I am so confused. I am so confused.
It's the intersectionality can be very confusing. Maybe you can get that explained to you.
I don't get what is allowed and what is not allowed. Anything about being a straight guy is now not allowed.
Yeah, exactly. So, hey, you should do a show with like a black lesbian.
Okay, is there anybody out there that fits that criteria? How do you find one of those?
A black lesbian?
Yeah,
probably on Craigslist.
This could get you into a lot of trouble. Like, no, I was looking for a podcast. Yeah, not for, no. Doesn't even make sense. I'm a straight guy. What would I need a lesbian for in that manner? Put on a show, I guess.
So bad. You're just digging a hole right now.
I know. It's fun. And I realized a while ago I didn't start the main recorder, so the backup recorder is doing all the heavy lifting today.
Nice. Well, I've been backing up recording as well.
Well, perfect. See, this is why it works. This is why it is essential to have a professional co-host that can pick up the slack.
Does things, yeah. Although this will be a short podcast for us because I still need to pack and I'm flying out shortly.
Why didn't you pack? What do you?
I thought about it.
Seriously, though, what do you need in Mexico? Can't you just go, en natural?
T-shirts and shorts, I guess, and stuff.
T-shirts, shorts, and stuff. How long can that even take? Can't you buy that when you get to Mexico too? Or is that then you'd have to pay the extra resort fee where it's like, oh, you'd like a shirt and a pair of shorts? That'll be $7,000, sir.
I'm already not looking forward to buying flip-flops at the resort.
Well, you don't have your own? I thought you have like a whole Adidas line of flip-flops.
Of flip-flops, I do, but I usually like to have a new set when I go to a resort.
Is it for just the overall people? You don't want them like, look at that guy. Looks like his flip-flops. They're like weeks old. Those are not brand new flip-flops on that guy.
So something I do, which may be annoying to some people, I like to get a new set of flip-flops that I can wear in the pool.
So you wear them into the pool?
Yeah, I don't want to touch things other people have touched.
Well, that makes sense. And you hear that even in the nicer hotels, there's a lot of people that are like, always wear flip-flops in the shower, man.
Uh-huh. Yeah. And so what I usually do is just buy a pair and then just use them for that hotel stay.
And then you just toss them when you're done.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
That seems like you could probably at least give those to a poor homeless child.
I'm sure somebody gets them.
It seems like wasteful spending.
No, not really. I mean, it's just, it's like spending money on masks or gloves.
There could be a black lesbian in need of flip-flops.
Just think of them as your foot gloves.
Well, that's
or foot masks.
My co-host on the Grumpy Old Ben's podcast went out camping over his birthday and got sick, but
yeah,
he didn't wear a mask, so it was.
Why would you wear a mask when you're camping? That would be idiotic.
Well, yeah. Well, it'd be idiotic to wear a mask at any times because they don't stop viruses.
Exactly.
But
especially when you're camping.
Well, especially. Is it wrong for one man
not
to
only do
camp
they
with
not
another
stop
man?
Viruses, but they actually encourage bacterial growth.
Well, because also, people are cheap. So especially looking back on this now, how many people had a cloth mask that they wore for weeks and weeks without laundering it. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Or even just wearing a paper mask for like days on end because, they're like 30 cents a piece.
Anything that's in front of your face for more than 8 hours is stupid.
Well, that's why you send the lesbians home when you're done. You're like, get out of here. I don't want you in front of my face anymore.
Uh-huh. Because you're just providing a warm, moist environment, which just happens to be exactly
what black lesbians like.
Funguses.
Oh, yeah, funguses.
Funguses, bacteria, they all like the warm and the moist.
And that is where bacteria
probably
grows.
Too.
Yeah. See?
Uh-huh.
All comes right back around.
Yeah. I mean, I guess in the end, pretty much everybody likes the warm and the moist, but
until you're dead or fired from Apple for making
or
the
fired
wrong
from Apple.
comment.
Yeah, it's like no more moist or warm.
Yeah, can Apple executives say warm and moist without being fired? I want to know.
I don't know if you can say the word moist without being fired these days. It's apparently on the list of banned words now.
Uh-huh. I want to know what this conversation was like too when this guy got called in.
Uh-huh.
Like, yeah, we saw this video and we're going to have to let you go.
Mm-hmm.
Don't say anything. This is why podcasters never get jobs. Once you start podcasting, we
you
can't.
Mean like people with jobs don't podcast?
Very rarely. I mean, how many companies would hire you after listening to this podcast? Zero.
Yeah, good question. Yeah.
It's like zero. They're like, no, this is very problematic. We've reached an inflection point.
I'm going to be on another podcast next week talking about business stuff. So,
ooh, nice. What kind of business?
Yeah. Just talking to rich people about how to
get richer.
Make sure that, pretty much.
Is that all business podcasts?
Yeah. I think in a nutshell, it is kind of all business podcasts.
You're like, let me tell you why you should put all of your money into rubles.
Too late.
Right. Right.
Yeah, should have done that when you had the chance.
And what the hell is going on over there? This is hilarious. This this annexation. If I go back to the audio, I believe you called this at one point or another.
I did.
That it was just going to be like, yeah, well, okay, we're just annexing this and let's move on.
I think I was talking about this back in March.
Yeah. You knew where it was going.
Yep.
It's all a scam.
Now it'll be interesting to see what happens after, because my original prediction from March was that everything east of Kiev would become part of Russia. And they're not quite that far west.
But close.
But so the question is, do they keep going after the annexation or not?
Well, I would think that this would be if everybody just goes, okay, let's just do this and we'll be done, then it would be done. But if there is any kind of, well, no, we're going to continue to fight, which is what you're hearing, then it probably continues to get pushed.
Yeah, because so going back to that original March prediction, is that if you drew a line from Odessa through Kiev all the way north to Belarus, that would be the chunk of land that would become part of Russia. Because, and it's not a hard prediction to make, because that's the Russian population. So these are places where people always spoke Russian. There was no Ukrainian dialect. That's all it really is. It's not a freaking language. It's a dialect. Like that was not a thing. So I think that right now there's probably zero chance of there being any kind of a ceasefire or any kind of a resolution to this. So I think Russia's going to keep doing. So they're going to formalize this new chunk, although they've delayed this. They were going to do it next week, but apparently now they're saying they're going to hold off on the formal recognition of them, or I guess the people have voted to become part of Russia, but Russia isn't going to fast track the process, so it'll take a little while.
Right, because we don't believe this election, but we're told election deniers should all go straight to hell, but we don't believe the results of this election.
Yeah, exactly.
Which makes sense. And I saw Donald Trump was offering to go negotiate.
So hold on. So we don't believe that the people that have been at war and attacked by the coup that came from Kiev for the last 8 years, that they would wish to leave Ukraine. Huh.
Exactly.
Interesting.
It has to go down our own line of political thinking.
Yeah. But, when Trump gets more votes than any other president in the history has ever gotten, well, Biden still wins. Okay. All right. That makes sense.
We have our one and only executive producer, I guess, with a Boostagram Live 3333 comic strip blogger.
Why? This has to be wrong. He's not listening.
He is listening. And he wants everybody to visit
I don't believe it.
www.csb.lol to find fun cartoons. And he says, tell Russian, that's you, to give up American citizenship if he wants to give Alaska back to Russia. I don't think you said you wanted to, did you?
No, I did. I just said there was never fully... that
the paperwork wasn't officially
was never done. Yeah.
vetted. Mm-hmm. So if that was never vetted, then it wouldn't actually be giving it back to Russia.
I love the fact that a Polish dude sitting there is telling me what I should be doing when I'm an American citizen talking about Alaska. Okay, buddy.
I thought you have so many different passports, it's hard to keep up.
Well, I've got an American one. That's the important one. So
international man of mystery. Well, until you get to Mexico, and then which passport?
Well, then I use the Mexican one.
Right.
Yeah, obviously.
And your name changes to like Juan Carlos or something like that.
Hey now. Don't be outing me.
Sorry, I didn't. It's so hard to keep track of all your different aliases. I've got them encrypted here on a hard drive.
I know. It's because I send you email from all of them.
Just in case.
Yeah.
It's the backup. We're kind of exactly. Like home base.
Well, at least you didn't say Juan Valdez, which is my name in Colombia.
Wait, but really good coffee then. Really good coffee.
What do you mean?
Juan Valdez. Really good coffee.
In coffee?
Yeah.
What does that have to do with coffee?
Well, you know exactly what it has to do with coffee.
That's just my alias, man.
Right.
Don't be talking about it.
Did you used to do commercials back in like the 80s?
Yeah, I've been around for a while.
You've changed a little too. I can see the dieting is not being your friend.
No. I like the good meat. You know, I like the.
Hey, now there's a ISO.
Is it? Is that even an ISO? Really?
Well, anything can be an ISO. I mean, you can ISO anything.
I never understood why they call them ISOs.
Isolation would be my guess.
Really?
Yeah.
That seems like a goofy term.
You're just isolating.
Me,
yeah.
There's two things that were ISOs. Well, there's more than two. There's in search of, which is what I thought they were saying originally. Like, I'm in search of this thing that I can't find. And then I realized, no, that's not what they mean by ISO. Then there's the ISO format of a CD. ISO stands for International Standards Organization.
Right, which is
it's been around for a long time.
Yeah.
And then I think there's a couple other definitions of ISO, but I've never understood why the hell they call clips ISOs.
I think it is just
why
because
would you not just call it a clip?
Well, I would agree.
I mean, it's in broadcast. I think it's what it's referred to as.
It is. Let's see. For audio.
I don't know where ISO came from. It was not a term for a clip that I was familiar with. Like I said, I know a few other ISOs, but clip
I know
was not one
it
of
is
them.
on the No Agenda podcast, which is really
that's the only podcast I've heard the reference from is No Agenda. Is they're calling clips ISOs,
and everything that has snowballed from No Agenda overall is who calls them ISOs.
Right, but that's my point. Is I don't understand why John and Adam started calling these things ISOs.
Because I believe of isolation. I believe they've mentioned that before. If I'm not totally imagining
that's a bad acronym, man. Or it's not even an acronym.
You're just taking a little bit and you're isolating it. That's what's allegedly making it funny.
It's not really isolating it. You're clipping it. Yes. Are you isolating it?
You're isolating it from the rest of a longer audio clip.
You're not taking the tracks apart that created it.
Like,
you're not removing the background sound.
I mean, like, for instance, you just said something like, hey, I like big meat. Well, then you cut that out. You're isolating it from the rest of the audio.
I cannot lie.
See?
Mm-hmm.
We should have Adam Curry on the show and he can explain where the term came from.
Oh, dude, I can't even get Adam Curry to go to lunch. Good luck getting him on the show.
Well, maybe I have better luck. He likes me better than you.
It's been a year since we got together, and I was near that area. I was at a buddy's ranch up there, and I'm like, hey, dude, I haven't talked for a long time. I'm like pretty close to you. Give me a holler. See what's going on. And then a couple days later, I get a text message that
says, text message.
Yeah,
it's
been no. It says, yeah, it's been a while. Okay, yes, it has indeed.
So that wasn't followed up by an invite or a
not just been busy. Okay, well, you know.
Well, I know
busy's good. I guess I don't know. Is busy good? I know that he is doing what? 5 podcasts now.
Yeah, I keep trying to keep up with one more than him, which is why we're adding another.
Of course.
But I think what you really just need to do is pick up a nice bottle of wine or two and then just text Tina with, hey, I've got some wine. You guys interested?
Mm-hmm. I think they're full up on wine, dude. Are you kidding? This same thing's happening to them that happened to the whiskey school guys that I was around when they started.
The boxes just started coming in fast and furious.
It's like as soon as people see you publicly as an alcoholic, I mean a consumer of the alcoholic stuff, everybody wants to send you a gift. And those gifts are alcoholic. And pretty soon, the whiskey guys were getting like 20 bottles of whiskey a day.
That's
It
crazy.
got ridiculous. They had to move offices because they got too much whiskey.
Which is a problem I wouldn't mind have. Well, that's not really true because I don't consume it anymore. So
yeah, but it's I think at this stage, Adam and Tina are pretty much getting that same thing with wine. They're getting bottles every week.
Yeah, but are they the good bottles? I mean, you say you just need to elevate your wine game. It can't be a $20, $30 wine. You have to get into the hundreds now.
Well, I mean, if I was going to spend $100 on a bottle of wine to give, there's only one guy I would send it to, and it wouldn't be Adam.
Oh, thank you. You'd be sending me some wine.
It'd be John.
Oh, well, wow.
Because John appreciates wine.
Wow. Oh,
he understands good wine from bad wine.
Is this?
And he's always replied to every single text about wine I've ever sent him.
But no other text where Adam's the opposite.
No. He ignores all my other texts. But if I ever send John a photo of a label, within 5 minutes, there's a reply back describing that wine.
It is an impressive service. He should charge for that.
Right?
It's like personal sommelier.
Pretty much. I mean, I'm like, hey, sitting at a restaurant. What do you think? Click. It's got pretty complex flavors. If you can get into it for under $75 a bottle, then it's worth doing. If it's more than that, don't bother.
You just send a whole wine list sometimes and be like, what should I be drinking here?
No, that's dangerous because I know exactly what he's going to go for.
The most expensive bottle possible.
No, it's not maybe the most expensive, but it ain't going to be cheap. That's for sure. So no, I wait until there's a selection, or if I'm at a store and I find something that looks like a good bottle, or like a good bottle for sale, then I might send something like that to him and then say, hey, what are your thoughts here? What are you thinking?
I saw an idiotic story the other day of a guy that was at one of Gordon Ramsay's restaurants and ordered a steak that he didn't realize. And I will have to back him a little bit if the menu showed different steaks as different pricing, where one of them was the price per like 4 ounces and the other one was priced per ounce. And he thought it was also priced per 4 ounces.
Oh, oops.
Yeah. So he got himself about a $400 steak.
Wow. That's $100 an ounce?
I guess. I mean,
it's insane.
It was, no, it was ordered obviously more than 4 ounces, but what he thought he was getting, at a price of whatever, it was way more. He thought he was looking, hey, like this is $20 for 4 ounces instead of $20 per ounce. So, oops. You still say, hey, well, yeah, give me a 12-ounce steak. I can afford that. That's great.
Yeah.
Until it's 20 an ounce rather than 20 for 4 ounces.
He may have been drinking a little too much then before ordering.
That's also very possible. It is possible.
Him. Now, the one thing I don't like is when they have market price on the menus.
You're like, what is that today?
Okay. What is that?
Well, because here's the thing.
Don't just put market price and expect me to say okay to ordering it.
Well, yeah, because nicer restaurants, they're not giving you the laminated menus that stick around for months at a time. They're usually giving you something they printed that day.
Yeah, well, in Austin, they don't give you shit. They make you scan a barcode, but yeah.
Those assholes, they won't even give you a menu
now. That disappeared. Those menus disappeared with COVID. There are no menus anymore.
So your menu is just, you have to have a device. Otherwise, what happens if you don't have a device? You're like, I'm a Luddite.
You shouldn't be eating there.
I'm Amish. I don't have a cell phone.
No, sorry. Get out of Austin.
Not just the restaurant. We're going to take you out to the city limits.
You'd be lucky if they let you use an Android phone.
Wow, really? It's an Apple ecosystem there?
Oh, are you kidding? Austin? It's the second biggest Apple hub after Silicon Valley.
I believe it.
I think they have 11 buildings here.
Well, you'll get fired, though, if you say you like to fondle big-breasted women.
Why would you do that in Austin?
Hell, down there in Texas, all you got are steers and queers, and I'm not seeing any steers.
There's Texas, and then there's Austin.
Yeah.
No, Austin is it's an exclave of California.
which is not a good selling point.
Oh, it's a horrible selling point unless it's for people that want to move here from California. So it's basically an exclave of California with lower taxes.
But are they still that much lower? I'm betting you're catching up.
Well, the city taxes are high. I think they're higher than any other city in Texas. But the state tax is the big one that is a huge difference. I mean, like none here in Texas and 8% in California.
Yeah, it's like the selling point of Florida. Hey, we have no state income tax. I'm like, well, yeah, but you just got destroyed by a hurricane. So
nobody got destroyed by a hurricane. That's a bullshit.
Hundreds of people died, according to news reports.
Well, that's people that really voluntarily committed suicide.
Yeah, well, this is true. Not taking the...
I'm going to stay in my basement because I don't believe in hurricanes.
There was a guy, allegedly, because again, internet, that had a video that said he was in Fort Myers, if I remember correctly, on the 27th floor of his condo building.
And he didn't leave?
Well, he didn't leave, no. And they had water in the bathtub. The building was swaying so much, the water was moving almost enough to come out of the tub. And I'm like, holy crap. I mean, I know that's what those buildings are designed to do.
Yep.
But I don't know if I could stay in a building that was moving that much. It would freak me out.
It'd be a fun ride, but I wouldn't want to live there.
Yeah. And I wouldn't want to be there when I mean,
I've been in buildings. There's a tall building in Melbourne that I was in that is known for its swaying. And you get up to the top floor for the observation deck, you can definitely feel the building swaying underneath you.
It's not a good it's not a comforting feeling, I would guess.
No, it's even if it's by design, it doesn't feel good to be up high and have your legs be moving underneath you.
Yes.
Because your immediate lizard brain thought of how high is this fall and am I going to die?
Yes. Very and yes.
You're not thinking like, oh, it's designed to swing back and forth. It's not a big deal. Just does that all day long.
Yeah, we're perfectly safe is not what's natural.
We like things that don't move underneath us.
It is preferred.
I think it took a hell of a lot of evolution to even get up on the horse.
Well, then airplanes, come on.
Airplanes don't really move. That's the thing. Airplanes,
well, how do you get to Mexico then?
They don't. Airplanes, due to their nature of flight, they're very dissociative.
They just go up in the air and the earth rotates around them.
Well, that's true too. It depends on the direction you're going. But if you have the blinds down, like you're taking a night flight, other than for the first 3 minutes of takeoff or the 3 minutes prior to landing, good luck judging where you are and how fast you're going.
Oh, that's true.
You can't tell. You're stationary.
Well, that's true, which is why pilots have such a problem if you are flying blind. Quite often don't even know if you're upside down, what's going on.
Well, that's why you got to use instruments, because your brain, much like your eyeballs not being able to see a moving dot as a moving dot, but rather seeing it as a whole image, your brain compensates for all these things. So your inner ear that's telling you when things are in motion gets into a sync pattern where, it's the same motion all the time. Therefore, I'm going to say there's no motion.
Yes, everything's fine. Nothing to worry about here.
Yep.
We're not going to plunge to our deaths if these big metal engines don't keep going.
Yeah.
I saw a thing on, they tested, I think we talked about the fact that Chicago, other cities are getting ready to start doing air taxis, more or less. And I saw they finally tested this electronic vehicle. And of course, I guess I feel a little safer when the engines are made by Rolls-Royce. That is a company I would put a little bit of faith into, but it's a piloted thing.
So BMW.
It has seating for 4 people. So it's basically a glorified electric. It's not a helicopter. It's not exactly like the what's the big military vehicle where you have the rotors and then the whole wing spins, the Osprey or something.
Yeah. Osprey, yeah. Mm-hmm.
It is not exactly that, but it's a similar concept where they have rotors that'll let you take off and then they have wings that will let you. So it's kind of a combination platter, which looks like a really cool vehicle, 100-mile range. And the goal is to have the cost of going from point A to point B be about the same as taking a traditional cab. That I'm wondering how far they're going to be from.
Good luck with that. How much are they jacking up the cab prices?
Exactly. Would have to be.
Oh, it's $50 a block?
Right. Well, if you want to land, that's an extra surcharge. You know?
Yeah.
How badly do you want to get there safely? I just don't know what the need is for a fleet of flying cabs.
Yeah. No, I hear you.
But you would totally take one to the airport if you could.
Well, yeah, of course.
So maybe that's the need, I guess.
But I don't know. I think that makes a lot more sense in a city that's got a lot of traffic.
Yes. Yeah.
Like
LA,
Austin.
for instance. Right. Chicago.
Yeah, LA. For sure.
That's always been the dream, is to fly right over the traffic.
Well, that's what we see in all the future movies like Blade Runner and stuff.
But you can't do it yourself because you can't have your own vehicle. You have to be reliant on.
Well, I mean, didn't Adam, like at one point, and at one point being in 2001, right before the building collapse, own a helicopter company?
Yeah.
And I think that was kind of the goal as well, is to bring people that can afford it to the airport via helicopter instead of a car.
A massive convenience. And I mean, I get it too, going downtown, because rush hour in Chicago sucks. Rush hour in LA sucks. If you could just go from the suburbs into the heart of downtown, then people will pay for it. I get it.
Yeah.
It's a beautiful thing. You don't want to sit in traffic. Just depends on how deep your pockets are.
Nobody likes to sit in traffic, but hopefully a lot of people are avoiding it these days.
Well, they used to stay home, shelter in place, shelter in Mexico. Same. Are you going to the same resort this time, or are you trying something different?
Same place.
Mr. Valdez, welcome back. Your suite is waiting for you.
I'm thinking of going back there again next month.
You would think they would have your flip-flops waiting for you there. Why don't you just tell them you need a fresh...
Hold these until I'm back.
Yes. Or just a fresh pair of flip-flops. I mean, this is a high-quality hotel. Like, do you have any extra requests that we can fulfill for you, sir?
No, it's actually a resort, not a hotel.
Well, that's even better.
No, that makes everything more expensive.
Right, but they will still cater to every one of your needs, unless you're afraid to pay $1,000 for a pair of flip-flops. I mean, you've had a real job recently. It's not like you're just a podcaster.
Yeah, that's true.
You got to spend
I'm still unemployed, but I did have a real job not too long ago.
See, there you go. I'm surprised they even let you come to the resort. They're like, oh, you're currently between jobs? No. Your social score, not so good.
It's social score. Yeah. Well, there's ways to fix that.
Well, this is why you have so many different passports and identities. You fuck up one of them, you're like, I'll just go to the next.
Yeah, just get rid of that one.
Yeah, that dude's going.
Do it over.
Yeah.
But speaking of heading off on vacation, I think we need to wrap this up a little early today.
That's okay,
because I still have to get some stuff done before I leave.
And by early, you mean now?
I mean, pretty much right now, yeah.
You'll be back for next week, Friday? Or no?
I'll be traveling on Friday.
Uh-oh.
So we need to figure out whether we want to do it a day early or a day later, or a couple days late or something.
What everybody should do is follow us on No Agenda Social, and then they'll know.
Yeah, No Agenda Social is good. Well, look, for the people that are subscribed to the podcast, which everybody should be, it's not going to make any difference anyway. It'll show up in your app when it shows up in your app.
It's like magic.
And it'll be ready whenever we deliver it. For anybody that's listening live on the stream, well, yeah, that's obviously a very small number of people, but for them, we'll post something in the social once we get that figured out.
Well, let's be careful out there, Gene.
That's always a plan.